Central Bank of Nigeria has reviewed upward the limit on cash withdrawals made by individuals and organizations across the Federation. Ahead of the distribution of the redesigned naira notes, the Apex Bank had on the 6th of December announced a new policy limiting over-the-counter cash withdrawals by individuals and corporate entities to 100,000 naira and 500,000 naira respectively per week. The upward review comes after the National Assembly asked the bank to considerably adjust the withdrawal limits in response to public outcry on the policy. The new directive was communicated through a letter addressed to all banks and signed by the Director of Banking Supervision, Haruna Mustafa, and now allows individuals to withdraw up to 500,000 naira weekly and organizations 5 million naira weekly. The initial limit was 100,000 naira for individuals. And of course, this, a lot of people might say is in response to the House of Reps' invitation to the Central Bank of Nigeria governor to explain the reason for some of his policies in the last long while. Olive, I'm guessing this is something to be celebrated?
It is certainly something to be celebrated. Some days ago, there was a lot of spending that needed to be done, and a lot of money had to be withdrawn. And I was thinking to myself, imagine that this was at the time where you had a limit upon you limit to the amount you could withdraw. That was going to cause a lot of hardship. As much as we might in some way understand what the Central Bank of Nigeria was trying to achieve with this, but it was going to cause a lot of hardship. You wouldn't be able to do a lot of businesses. There's so many payments that wouldn't be able to go through. Last week I went shopping at a supermarket. I made the transfer, and I know that they're trying to encourage a lot of e-transfers as well, cashless policy. I made a transfer also again. I made this transfer at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. They didn't get a debit alert. I had to leave everything I had shopped, and it was a lot. Everything I shopped, and I dropped my phone number. They called me at 7 p.m. to come back and pick my stuff because they had just gotten the alert. If I had cash, I would have been able to pay cash and move on. So these are some of the challenges that this initiative might, be able to help combat. The fact that the money and the limit has been increased. So I think it's something to be excited about. And if Godwin Emefiele is listening, it shows that he's listening and he's seeing the public outcry, even though he's not appearing before the National Assembly. He's listening. Yeah,
but, he's meant to appear today. I think Thursday was the day that they had given him. So it should be today. Let's see if he will show up today. But another thing is, I feel like, we still, Nigerians generally, still need some level of clarity as to the reason behind these moves by the CBN. We've had, some level of, a lot of people just, start making insinuations. Maybe it's for security reasons. Maybe it's to limit the amount of cash flow in the system. Maybe it's, to help fight inflation. Maybe it's because of the elections and they try to limit the amount of money that is available to politicians, who may want to commit, electoral fraud. There's so many of these insinuations, and I feel like CBN needs to be clear because now that they've done a reversal of these laws, if we were certain what exactly the reason was before, we can then ask ourselves, okay, does this reversal affect the original plan by the CBN? Does this reversal of, in any way disrupt the plan that the CBN had or the goals that the CBN were trying to achieve in the first place? And if we, as Nigerians, consider, okay, the CBN is actually doing this to help the system and to help the country, then, this reversal might, of course, delay whatever plan that they had. So, but unfortunately, because we're not 100% clear, it's difficult. It's really, really difficult. But these are, continuing conversations, and we'll definitely be speaking about them later.
I'm sure we'll get the answers that we desire or the answers that we seek today when the CBN governor appears before the House, so we get more clarity and more answers in this regard.
Absolutely.